Well, this was a fail. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So today's video I decided to carve a fake pumpkin. This brand is called the Incredible Funkins Artificial Carvable Pumpkins. I got this at my local craft store and I was thinking if I could paint people, then I could possibly carve a realistic person's face on a pumpkin. Yeah. So my plan was to use these tools, the same tools I use for a real pumpkin. These are sculpting tools. They are usually in the clay section. But anyways, I already had my sketch. I did it off camera and I had a plan, a good solid one too. So before I was going to tape my sketch on the pumpkin and poke holes to make a guide, I needed to identify where my levels of carving will be. Therefore, I color coordinated all of this. At this point, I was on a roll. This was just to help me out on the thickness of the carving I would do. I was feeling pretty confident at this point. Mind you, this is the first time I carved with a fake pumpkin, but I was still determined this would turn out the way I envisioned it. I proceeded to color my colors on my sketch. Now, Corinne wasn't really what I wanted to carve. No shade at all. I love her and all her videos. You bet I hit that notification bell whenever they post a new video. I did want to do a female vampire face. I just so happened to remember that Corinne had a video where she did coffin purses and she just had a beautiful vampire look in that video. So that is my reason behind this inspiration. So thank you, Corinne. Please do go check out Threadbangers videos or her personal channel. They have saved me a lot of money on these cool pins or DIYs they do. And I hate when they fail, but it's really realistic if you think about it. It's funny because you're about to watch a fail on this pumpkin carving. Maybe they can do a better job. I would love to see that kind of video on their channel instead of the real pumpkin carvings they usually carve every year. But moving on, in this picture I wanted to show you how I was going to carve the levels, like if I was this math expert. The top of the pumpkin going from thick to thin. I don't know if all that makes sense. It made sense in my head. I don't know what I was thinking though. Well, I do, but I felt like I could really do this. I went ahead and taped my drawing and then I used this pointy tool to poke holes. I didn't go all the way through with this pointy thing. The cool thing about this pumpkin is that no liquids was coming out. That sounded so gross. I wouldn't say it's better than a real pumpkin because it does get equally messy with all of the foam coming out. The pumpkin is hollow, so no gutting anything, but see, here is what it looks like after poking the holes. I did one over with a pencil to resketch my drawing on the pumpkin, and now I can move on for the actual carving. This video is sped up so you don't get to see that I'm actually struggling to carve this. Like I said, this was my first time carving a fake pumpkin, and when I took out the first chunk of this, I then realized I'm screwed. I was like, what? How am I gonna do my levels? But I just kept on going and was hoping for the best. I should have made a practice run on this, like on a smaller pumpkin. I just felt like I could do this. You ever have those moments where you think you got this and you don't? Yeah. That was me. This fake pumpkin was pretty sturdy, but I was afraid the smaller pieces that I needed to carve would not work in my favor, and it did not. I tried using the pointy poke thingy and see if I could carve the smaller pieces with that, and no. It actually took forever to make those holes in her eyes. Your hand will cramp up, just saying. And I know it looks terrible that I'm like poking in her eye. I hope she doesn't get like a headache. I felt like I was doing some like voodoo stuff there, but yeah. Now I wanted to replicate her hair look, and carving that to a pumpkin is impossible. Well, at least for this pumpkin. I felt like I was more digging the pumpkin rather than carving it. In my mind, before I started carving, I was like, this would carve like butter. Yeah, it was more like a rock. I think an actual pumpkin is softer than this foam. I don't know how other pumpkin carvers, and yes, that's an actual thing. There are legit pumpkin carvers and they are amazing, but I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's a different kind of foam pumpkin they use because this pumpkin sucked. This was not what I envisioned. You can't even see her hair where I carved the pumpkin, where if you put it in the light, it should have been a thin layer and the light peeking through. I was sad. So I went back and I tried to keep going and carve more so the light can peek through, and then I realized that this wasn't going to work in my favor. So instead of doing an actual face, I went the route of doing a silhouette face instead. Just a basic pumpkin carving. So I went ahead and adjusted everything. All my arithmetic skills went down the drain, but on the bright side, this wouldn't rot like a real pumpkin. Then the unthinkable happened. Just when things couldn't get any worse, the pumpkin gods are not with me. I will hot glue it later. This was torture, physically and emotionally. I do feel like I failed Corinne. I was hoping to send her this, but I don't know if she would want this. But if you do, Corinne, just email me. She is probably like, no thanks. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video by giving it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified when I post a new video, and comment down below if you want to see me retry this again next year. Thank you again, and I'll see y'all later.